How many people let me ask you all, do you love yourself? If you love yourself, just raise your hand. Raise your hand. That's the vast majority. Okay. Well, that leads me to ask other questions here. What if we were different? What if we had stayed the same baby child we once used to be? Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, imagine this with me. Imagine you're looking at a newborn baby. A baby that was just born, surrounded by a group of people who are at their happiest moment. The love they give to the baby is something we rarely even see nowadays. The question is, what power does the little creature have? What is the attraction here? You may have seen it before. Being close to a baby feels different than being close to any other age. It's all the purity and the love that the baby is made of. The thing is, we were that baby once. We grew up with a roller coaster of life, and flows emerged. The inner side, the softened heart of ours seemed to be no longer protecting us for the sake of preventing us from being hurt by those who seek chances like a shark in the ocean. Well, that led us to become individuals with character flaws because we tend to live a life with a maximum level of joyfulness without expecting life to beat us down. But that's a wrong thought. But it's okay, it's not the end of the world. Because having character flaws is very, very human. But doing nothing about them is tragic. And changing them is a proof that you are more than flesh and blood. How can you prove that? And what flaws? You might be asking, what flaws am I even be talking about right now? Well, look at an individual who needs to be calm while he's upset. Look at ourselves. We hate to accept accountability and blame the others. We lie while it's better to tell the truth. We are highly intolerant of people who are not like us, who don't believe like us, and who don't think like us. We try to find fault in the others and share it, even when we are aware that it's going to hurt them. We are that unfortunate class of souls who choose to be right than being happy. We are those unfortunate class of souls who find critics better than solutions. And we are that unfortunate class of souls who are not capable of admitting we are wrong while we are wrong. We can change that. But then why and how to change that? It all starts with the change of a belief. And I know you might have heard that many times in your life. But it may have never been clear what it takes about to change a belief. I will be very specific here. There are a few points that I need to mention. First, having the character flaws is human, as I said, but changing the character flaws requires courage, and life needs to be lived courageously. Second, character flaws are spinning around our emotional world like a hurricane ready to hit the coast. So they have the power to disrupt your relationships. And worse yet, character flaws, they come in clusters. One pulls the other and no permission is required. And once that happens, we are stuck. And once we are stuck, we tend to act on our personality and change that, not knowing that there is a huge difference between personality and character flow. Once we feel at our comfort level, we act on the personality. It's the same thing as treating skin disease with makeup. But then, what are the rewards? What do we gain? What do we gain if we change that? What is it that we're going to gain if we change the character flaws? Love. And by love, I don't mean romantic love. I mean self-love, the inner side that what we once had. It's going to gain its energy once more time. And you will feel powerful, and you will see the beauty of life itself. We will live a life, maximum level of joyfulness, knowing that you know the answers of these two questions. Why are we here, and what are we doing here, and what are we going to do? But know one thing, once you start to ask these questions, and once you start to change the belief, you may have to take the risk and walk alone. Because if you walk alone, you may have the risk of losing people, but it's okay. It's okay to walk alone. A friend of mine, Giovanni, he's the founder of Artitote. Once we were having a discussion about self-love. He mentioned an interesting topic. He said, people don't know how to differentiate between self-love and narcissism. There is a huge difference between self-love and narcissism. And why is that? What is narcissism? Narcissism is the selfish act of yours not caring about anyone else but you. While self-love is the love, the amount of love that you give yourself. And as a reflection of that, everybody gets the same amount of love that you give yourself. That is very important to consider. Second, a good character, a good reputation, of course. A person's reputation used to be based on how he was, on a person who kept his promises, a person who was loyal and having lived an honest life. But it's unfortunate that right now, a person is only being judged over how good he is at doing something. An example, look at a sports player. He is solely judged over how good he is in his performance and not what kind of person he actually is. And who to blame? Majority of the problems, majority of the society right now and nowadays is based on the promotion of the social media. And the question is how social media is doing its job correctly and how are we taking the advantage of it. We only use it for bringing about our satisfaction and the rest is well ignored. In one of my university days, I received an email from the United Nations Refugee Agency. They were asking about donations for one of the refugee camps in Syria. When I read that email, I couldn't just sit there and then ignore what it was about. I couldn't. That was not who I was in that moment when I realized it was time to change. I realized that it's time to take action. By that time, I just received my monthly rent from my brother. So what I did, I donated everything that I received in order for me to feel something different. I needed to detach myself. I needed to feel those people. I detached myself and I felt those people in crisis because the only way you could feel the others in crisis is when you detach yourself and you pretend that you're looking at yourself as though you're in crisis. Now I'm going to leave you with one question. What are you going to do with what you have? Thank you.